I didn't know the video existed until a coworker hesitated before speaking to me, like he was deciding whether I deserved to know. That hesitation was the first crack. Then he finally said, "Hey, I think you should see this." He turned his phone toward me, and in that moment, everything I thought I understood about my family shifted. It was a short clip, filmed casually, like a joke meant for laughs. My parents sat at the dining table, my sister beside them, all smiling in that familiar way I had trusted my whole life. But then my name came up. And the smiles twisted. "He's a pathetic failure," my father said, laughing under his breath. My sister rolled her eyes, adding, "Seriously, he's done nothing with his life." My mom didn't disagree. She just nodded and said, "Some people are just born lazy." I felt something cold settle in my chest as the video ended. It wasn't just the words, it was how easily they said them. Like it was truth, like it was obvious, like I wasn't even there to defend myself. I handed the phone back slowly, forcing a tight smile I didn't feel. "Thanks," I muttered, though I didn't know why I said it. Maybe because I didn't know what else to say. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Their voices echoed in my mind, repeating over and over, louder each time. Pathetic failure, lazy, useless. Words I had spent years trying to outrun. The irony was almost unbearable. Because while they were sitting there, laughing at me, they had no idea what I had been doing behind the scenes for years. Or maybe they did, and just didn't care. Every month, without fail, I had quietly transferred money into their accounts. Electricity bills, mortgage payments, my sister's tuition, I covered things they never even questioned. They thought it was luck, or timing, or maybe just that life wasn't as hard as they made it out to be. They never once asked how it was all getting paid. And I never told them. Not because I wanted recognition, but because I thought that's what family did. You help, you support, you stay silent if it means keeping things stable. I worked 2 jobs for years. One they knew about, a modest office position they constantly belittled. "That's not a real career," my father would say. "You'll never get anywhere like that." The other job, they never knew existed. Freelance consulting, late-night contracts, projects that stretched into early mornings. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid well. And every extra dollar I earned, I funneled back into the house I had grown up in. I told myself it mattered. That one day, they'd see me differently. That one day, the sacrifices would mean something. But watching that video, I realized something brutal. They already had everything I was giving, and they still saw me as nothing. That night, I sat alone in my apartment, replaying the clip over and over again. Each time, it hurt a little less, but it cut a little deeper. Because clarity doesn't come softly. It forces you to see things exactly as they are. And what I saw was a truth I had avoided for too long. I wasn't supporting a family. I was sustaining an illusion. An illusion where they thrived, and I stayed invisible. The next morning, I opened my banking app and scrolled through years of transactions. Line after line of payments, all leading back to them. It was almost surreal, seeing it all laid out like that. Proof of everything I had done, everything I had sacrificed. And yet, in their eyes, I was still a failure. My finger hovered over the screen as I considered what to do next. For years, I had acted out of loyalty, out of love, out of hope, but none of those things had been returned. So I did something I had never done before. I stopped. No more transfers. No more quiet support. No more invisible safety net. At first, nothing happened. A day passed. Then another. The silence felt strange, like waiting for a storm you knew was coming but couldn't see yet. And then, on the 3rd day, my phone rang. My mom's name flashed on the screen. I let it ring once, twice, 3 times before answering. "Hello," I said, my voice steady. "Hey," she said, her tone casual but edged with something else. "Quick question, did something happen with the bank? The electricity bill didn't go through." I leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling. "No," I replied, "nothing happened." There was a pause. "Then why wasn't it paid?" she asked, confusion creeping in. I took a slow breath. I guess the pathetic failure forgot. Silence. Heavy, uncomfortable, real, and for the first time in years, I wasn't the one trying to fill it. The silence stretched so long I thought the call had dropped. But then I heard her inhale sharply, like she was trying to piece together what I had just said. "What are you talking about?" she asked, her voice thinner now, less certain. I didn't answer right away. I let the weight of it settle, the way it had settled on me when I first saw that video. I saw it, I said finally. The video. The one where you all laughed about me. Another pause, but this one was different. Not confusion, recognition. That was just a joke, she said quickly. You know how your dad is. He doesn't mean things like that. I let out a quiet breath, not quite a laugh. He seemed pretty sure of himself, I replied. And so did you. She tried to recover, her tone shifting into something defensive. You're overreacting. Families tease each other. It's normal. I sat up straighter, my voice calm but firm. Paying your bills for years without saying a word, that was normal too, right? That's when everything changed. What do you mean? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't rush it. The mortgage, the utilities, Sarah's tuition. That wasn't luck. That wasn't timing. That was me. The line went completely silent. I could almost hear her trying to process it, trying to find a way to make sense of something that had never even crossed her mind. That's not possible, she said finally. We would have known. I shook my head, even though she couldn't see me. No, I said quietly. You would have noticed. Within an hour, my phone was flooded with calls. My dad, my sister, messages stacking one after another, all asking the same thing in different ways. Is it true? Why didn't you tell us? What's going on? I didn't answer any of them right away. For once, I let them sit in uncertainty. The same uncertainty I had lived with for years, wondering if anything I did actually mattered to them. That evening, I agreed to meet them. Not at their house, my apartment. Neutral ground. When they walked in, the atmosphere was tense, unfamiliar. My dad looked unsettled, my mom anxious, my sister quiet in a way I had never seen before. Tell us this isn't true, my dad said immediately. I met his gaze, steady and unshaken. It is, I replied. Every bill you didn't worry about, I covered it. They didn't speak for a moment. Then my sister finally asked, why? It was such a simple question, but it carried everything. I thought about it before answering. Because I thought it mattered, I said. Because I thought family meant helping without keeping score. Because I believed you'd see me for who I am, not what you assumed. My voice didn't rise, but it didn't soften either. It stayed exactly where it needed to be, honest. My mom started crying, shaking her head. We didn't know, she kept saying. We didn't know. I looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time, I understood something clearly. That's the problem, I said. You never tried to know. My dad's expression shifted from shock to something heavier, guilt, maybe. We were wrong, he admitted, his voice lower than I had ever heard it. We judged you without understanding anything. I nodded slowly. Yeah, I said. You did. The room fell quiet again, but this time it wasn't empty. It was full of everything that had gone unsaid for years. I've stopped the payments, I added. Everything from now on is your responsibility. My sister looked like she wanted to argue, but didn't. My mom wiped her tears, her voice trembling. Can we fix this? She asked. I didn't answer right away. Because the truth was, some things don't get fixed overnight. Some things don't go back to the way they were. I don't know, I said honestly. But I'm not going back to being invisible. They left not long after that. No shouting, no dramatic exits, just quiet realization, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel small watching them walk away. I felt steady. In the weeks that followed, things changed in ways I hadn't expected. They reached out more, not for money, but for conversation. Real conversation. My dad apologized again, this time without excuses. My sister admitted she had repeated things she never questioned. My mom tried, in her own way, to rebuild something she hadn't realized was broken. But the biggest change wasn't them. It was me. For years, I had carried the weight of proving myself to people who had already decided who I was. I had given without being seen, supported without being acknowledged, and stayed silent when I should have spoken up. That video, it hurt more than anything. But it also did something else. It showed me the truth. And once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. I'm still figuring things out. Still rebuilding, still deciding what kind of relationship I want with them moving forward. But one thing is certain now. I'm no longer the pathetic failure they laughed about. And I never was.